Kids in 2026 are cooked, but the reason why they're cooked comes down to one word: brain rot. Whether that means being addicted to iPads or learning how to vape before learning multiplication, brain rot has gone too far. So today, we're gonna talk about how kids in 2026 act, some of the scary interactions I've had with kids in this generation, and my plan to solve their brain rot issue. But the reason I had the idea to make this video in the first place is because of an interaction I had last week. When I was at a restaurant, and at the table next to me, there's a kid who cannot be older than like 4 years old. But this kid had an iPad propped up against the ketchup bottle like it's a home theater, and he has a cartoon playing on full volume with no headphones. But the insane part about this was the whole restaurant is just eating their food like this is normal. No one's even glancing over towards this iPad infant. So I'm sitting next to him, but then the worst possible thing that could have happened. His iPad died. And this kid, who couldn't even talk yet, let out a scream so loud that I thought somebody got stabbed. I'm talking full on. All because his screen just went dark. So what do you think happened next? A, the parents consoled the kid and tried to calm him down. B, they told the kid to stop screaming because they're in a restaurant and that's not what you're supposed to do. Or C, they went outside to not cause a disturbance. Well, if you guessed A, B, or C, you would be wrong, because the actual thing that happened next is the parents opened their duffel bag, pull out a different iPad, and hand it over to him. They turned it on, the kid started playing the cartoon again, and just like that, he wasn't screaming anymore. They were carrying a second iPad like it was an EpiPen.
Listen, in case of emergency, deploy the iPad mini.
And that was the moment I realized kids in 2026 are a different breed. We often call this younger generation iPad kids, but honestly, that's not even an accurate description of them. Because an iPad kid isn't a kid with an iPad. An iPad kid is a kid who is the iPad. You take the screen away and there's nothing going on up there. It's like unplugging something from the wall. The lights just completely go off in their head. But the thing is, it's not the kid's fault at all. The kid was handed a glowing rectangle before he could hold his own head up. He came into this world, opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw wasn't his mother's face. No, it was a YouTuber yelling, "Don't forget to like and subscribe." But it's not even normal videos they're watching. When I was a kid, we were watching stuff like SpongeBob, Elmo, that's low-key the only ones I can remember. But at least there was a story to these shows. These kids are watching content that looks like it was generated by a fever dream. It'll be some creepy head inside a toilet talking in a non-understandable language with a bunch of bright colors going off and sound effects that overstimulate you until it feels like your head is going to explode. And they're designed that way for a reason, because it's perfectly made to be addicting. So you would think,
man, that's a pretty big issue. But if we could just take away these kids' technology, we solve the problem, right?
Well, no, because we've got an even bigger problem than the iPads. Because you'll see the local elementary school be getting out of class and they'll have these little sticks in their hand that they suck on. No, it's not a lollipop. No, it's not a Sharpie. It's a vape. The second they're old enough to walk into a bathroom by themselves, they're vaping. I wouldn't be surprised if I went to McDonald's tomorrow and the toy they gave you with a kid's meal was an icy mint flavored vape. That's where we're at now. One kid commented on my video before saying that vaping has gotten so bad at his school that they're installing vape detectors in the bathrooms now. What's the difference between a vape detector and a smoke detector? The world may never know. But that's where we're at now. And listen, I know how I sound right now. I sound like somebody's dad. I sound like the old man that yells at clouds. But I'm not that old. That's what's scary. Or at least I don't act like I'm old.
Wait, maybe that just means I'm immature, actually.
The only reason I'm talking about these things is because I see you guys in the comments saying how crazy the younger generation is yourselves. But speaking of you guys, that's another thing we gotta talk about with kids now. I'll get recognized by you guys in public sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I love it. Like, if you ever see me in public, come say hi. Because I always see people staring at me thinking I don't notice them. Newsflash, I always notice. It's gotten to the point where sometimes if I see someone recognize me in public, I'll just go like this towards them. One time, a kid came up to me, couldn't have been older than like 10, and he looks me dead in the eyes and goes,
"I don't like your videos."
He didn't want a picture. He just walked over specifically to inform me that he didn't enjoy my content, and then he left. Didn't even give me any time to respond. Another time, a kid asked me for a picture. Yeah, great, let's do it. So we take the picture. I do my little pose. But then the kid looks down at the photo on his phone, stares at it for a second, and goes,
"Damn, bro, you look kind of chopped in this."
So I laughed, thinking he was being sarcastic. But then I look at his face, and he's staring at me like this. There was no sarcasm in that kid's facial expression. And it's not just one-off comments, it's a pattern. It happens every time. I had a kid walk up, look at me, and go,
"I expected you to be funnier."
Like, bro, you caught me while shopping at Target. How funny do you want me to be? And don't even get me started on some interactions I've had when it's groups of friends that recognize me. Because when these kids are around their friends, they all want to be funny. So they'll just start calling me all sorts of names. I would repeat them back to you, but I don't want this video to get taken down, so I don't think I can. The kids these days have zero filter, zero hesitation, zero fear. clear. Like there's no part of their brain that goes,
I have a really nasty thought right now. Maybe I should keep it to myself.
which honestly, I respect. It's pretty funny. But dang, sometimes y'all be cooking me. And I got a question for the younger generation. Do you guys go outside anymore? Because I know. I shouldn't be asking if y'all go outside when I don't touch grass myself. But when I was a kid, I was always out. I rode my bike to my friend's house, played sports outside with them. All because we didn't have as much technology as there is today. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I had the option to just stay inside and scroll when I was younger, heck yeah, I would have done that. But we didn't have that option. But the reason I'm asking if kids go outside these days is because I cannot remember the last time I saw a kid riding a bike outside. It's like seeing your neighbors taking their groceries. It just doesn't happen as far as I know because I've never seen it. The streets are empty. The only kid I've seen near a bike recently was the one I accidentally bumped into with my car last week. And before you freak out, he's fine. I was only going like 15 miles per hour, so he just bounced off the car and got up, mostly. That was the first kid I'd seen outside in forever. That's how rare it is. All the adults these days are always saying, I'm so glad I grew up before social media was invented because we actually played outside. But to all the adults who say that, all I have to say is, stop talking. Like, let's be real. We act like we're grateful that we didn't have technology at such a young age, but I would have loved to doom scroll at 7 years old. But we're just lying to ourselves saying otherwise. You think I went outside by choice when I was younger? There was just literally nothing else to do because my parents put a limit on my screen time. 30 minutes and they'd come unplug it and send me outside. And I thought I was the most oppressed child on earth. Now, I will pick up my phone to scroll through just a couple videos, but then I'll blink and it's been 30 minutes already. Does time literally go by faster for kids now? Like when you're a child, days and years feel longer and they speed up as you get older. But if you're just on your phone the whole day at 6 years old,
Is life just on 2 times speed from birth?
anyways, this is the part of the video where I'm really gonna sound like an unk because let me tell you about an interaction I had the other day with a kid that broke my brain. I'm at the mall and there's a kid in a stroller. This is literally a baby. This is a child who cannot form a sentence, cannot tell you his name, has maybe 4 teeth. He's basically me from 5 years ago, but he has a phone in his hand, not a toy phone, a real phone. That wasn't even the main issue though. We've already discussed how it's crazy for babies to have phones, but at this point, we're used to it. The wild part is that I got curious thinking, okay, if a baby has a phone, what could they possibly be doing on it? Maybe he's risen up the other babies he knows, I don't know. So I leaned over to peek at his screen, and what I'm about to tell you I saw on that screen will either make complete sense to you, or you will think, what the heck are you talking about, Tyler? Because what I saw on his phone was a video of a man, an animated man, but this man didn't have a body. It was just a floating head, and this head was inside a toilet doing these weird, creepy movements with his mouth. Now, for those of you who have no idea what this is, you're like me, but I'm sure a lot of you were able to figure out that what this Boss Baby kid was watching was Skibidi Toilet. I'm pretty sure I lost 5 brain cells just by saying that name, but I didn't even know what that was at the time. So I go home and look it up like a detective. I didn't even know what to look up. I'm searching all sorts of things like floating creepy head bathroom. Nothing shows up. Decapitated man child cartoon. Still nothing. But then I search floating head in toilet cartoon, and the series Skibidi Toilet shows up. And I genuinely cannot explain it to you because there is no explanation. It's just a man's head coming out of a toilet singing. That's the show. There's a bunch of episodes, so there's a lot more to it, but basically that's all you need to know. That's what this developing human brain is marinating in during the most important years of its development. I could feel myself start to literally get dumber as I watched more of the show. After the first 5 seconds, I forgot the year America was founded. After 15 seconds, I could no longer count past the number 12. After 20 seconds, I forgot my own birthday. I ended up watching a full episode, which was about 15 minutes, and now I can no longer speak English. And you guys may say, Tyler, you've been speaking English this whole video though. But remember guys, I'm from the United States, so I'm not speaking English, I'm speaking American. British people speak English. Now don't get me wrong, I may be acting a little dramatic with how much this show affected my brain, but the one thing I knew for a fact is that if kids were watching this stuff all day, they would be cooked. But to any people watching this video who have thought at least once,
You know, I'm kind of the person that he's describing.
don't worry, I'm guilty too, because I myself have a phone addiction. Like, I cannot put it down. Like, seriously, I'm literally scrolling through TikTok as I'm filming this video. That's right, everybody. Surprise, I'm a hypocrite. My addiction is bad. Like, I'll physically take my phone, walk it to another room, set it down, and tell myself I'm not gonna use it for 30 minutes. But after about 3 minutes, I'm sitting there thinking, this is boring. I would much rather be scrolling through my phone right now. But if somehow I still don't go check it, I'll think, you know what? I need to get my phone because what if someone texted me? And I'll use that as an excuse to go grab my phone. I've got about 1 actual friend and we text once every maybe 3 months, so I know nobody's texting me. Nobody ever texts me. But I'll go get my phone, start watching some random video about how crayons are made, and just like that, another 2 hours has passed. I'm not even the one controlling my body. It's literally sleepwalking. The addiction is driving and I'm just a passenger. Now think about that. Have you ever realized realized there's a huge difference between a problem and a future problem? For example, if my room is messy, that's a problem. But if I just walk out of the room and close the door, that's now a future problem. If I get a text I don't want to answer, future problem. If I need to do laundry, future problem. If I should probably schedule a doctor's appointment, future problem. The issue is that eventually all these future problems become current problems at the exact same time. And that's why I actually like using ZocDoc, today's video sponsor. Because making a doctor's appointment used to feel like a whole process. But with ZocDoc, I can do all of that in one place. I can find doctors that take my insurance, read reviews from real patients, see available appointment times, and book online. It's one of those things that turns a task I would have put off for weeks into something that takes just a couple minutes. The process in booking a doctor's appointment is so much quicker than anything else. That's what I love most about it. When something is so easy, I'm way less likely to push it off as a future problem. And seriously, if you've been putting off your health, don't keep ignoring it. Even booking the appointment is a real step toward taking care of yourself. So if you've got a doctor's appointment sitting in the future problem, click the link in my description and check out ZocDoc. Taking care of your health should be a priority, and ZocDoc makes it easier to do. So go to ZocDoc.com/Tyler Vitelli to cross off one of your future problems. Now back to the video. My phone addiction started at 16 and it's permanent. The baby's addictions are starting at 0, before they can walk, before they can even talk. So by the time they're my age, there's no quitting. And the crazy part is, you can pinpoint the exact time where everything went so wrong. Tell me if this rings a bell. It's a random Friday in the spring. Birds are chirping when you're in class, but out of nowhere, an announcement goes off over the intercom. And what this announcement says changes the whole course of your life. Attention students, due to the coronavirus outbreak, there will be no in-person school next week. We will be fully virtual. Newsflash, we never went back in person. That's the moment where everything changed. Because when that happened, people stopped leaving the house. But what we didn't realize is that most of us would just never leave the house even after it ended. We learned to be inside for COVID, and that just became our life. Believe it or not, before COVID, I went outside all the time. I had no phone addiction, I had a good social life, but after, I could barely form 2 sentences without saying, in between every word. I 100% blame this event for why we're all so cooked. Because during COVID, even though it sounded like it would be horrible, I think almost all of us started to realize,
Wait, this is low-key kinda nice. Just chilling inside all day and not having to do anything. I could get used to this.
So then, when it was all over and people were expected to go back out, sun is out to people, no one knew how to drive. Well, I mean, that's always been the case in LA. I mean, seriously, are some of y'all blind out here? Cause you're driving like it. Sorry for sidetracking. Just had to get that off my chest. But where was I? Oh, yeah. I literally had good friends who were very normal, like decently smart people before lockdown. But then COVID happened. I didn't see them for like 2 years. And when it ended and I saw them for the first time again, they were changed forever. They got one taste of brain rot and never were able to come back from it. Not even exaggerating when I say that I literally saw certain people go from having normal posture pre-COVID to having hunchbacks because now they were glued to their phone all day. COVID happened during high school for me. So I think I was a part of the first generation ever to literally get dumber from their freshman year of high school to their senior year. Now, am I saying all this because I want you to feel bad for me? I do like when people feel bad for me, actually, but that's not the only reason I bring it up. The other reason is because our brain rot due to COVID has somehow been passed down to the kids. They're more addicted to their phones than ever, and they're raised that way. But here's the part that should terrify all of us. We all agree this is bad. Every single person watching this is nodding along going,
That's messed up. Kids shouldn't be like this.
well, there's probably one person out there who doesn't agree. One of y'all always gotta be different in the comments. But the point is, if most of us agree that it's bad, then why is it still happening? Why do these kids still have the phones? Can anybody answer this for me? I have the answer, and it's not very hard. The answer is the parents. But what makes this generation of parents so different from other generations to where all the children now are suffering from a brain rot epidemic? The difference is that now, there are Gen Z parents. The people raising these kids are a part of my generation. That's what makes it terrifying, because I want you to really sit with the fact that people my age are parents right now. Like, just imagine if I had a child. Seriously, picture me right now responsible for keeping a small human alive. Take a second to have that thought in your head. Now you see the fear. Now you get why this is so terrifying. Because as you all know, I can barely keep myself alive. I can never take care of a little kid. But the reason people my age might not be the most suited to raise kids is because, as I've been saying, all of my generation are addicted to their phones. So now we've got addicts raising other addicts. And you can see just how wild these Gen Z parents are by the names they're giving their kids. I'm talking talking about names that sound like a password you'd make up. I heard a mom in the grocery store the other day go,
Rocket, get over here.
Rocket was her son's actual name. And don't get me wrong, Rocket is a great name if you're a raccoon in a Disney movie, but it's a horrible name for a human child who has to one day put that on his resume. Hi, I'm Rocket. I'm here for the interview. You're not getting hired. But it gets worse. About 2 years ago, someone I know named their child Absidy. Now you may think,
That's not the worst name ever. Absidy sounds kind of pretty. It's not a horrible name.
now you may think,
You know what? That's not the worst name ever. Absidy sounds kind of pretty.
I agree with you. It's not a horrible name if it weren't for the fact that her name was literally spelled A-B-C-D-E. So when you sound it out, it's Absidy. Just imagine how her life is gonna go. When she's at McDonald's and they're trying to call out her name, we have a meal for Abkadah. Abkadah. Are you here? At least her name will always be first when they're doing things in alphabetical order because her name literally is the alphabetical order. But before moving on from this baby name part, let me just quickly go through all the other insane Gen Z baby names I've heard. I've met a kid named after a font. Not any particular font, no. Their name was quite literally just font. I've met someone with the name L'Oreal, which honestly, that sounds kind of cool. But it also is just the name of a skincare brand. But the name that takes the cake for me, the one that I still can't say without laughing, is one you will never guess. Because I met someone with the name B''Cuz. It was literally spelled like this. Like, do these parents know that these kids are gonna have to have the names when they get older too? You can't be a 75-year-old man with the name Rocket. But it's not just experiences I've personally had with Gen Z parents that makes me know we're the reason the kids are cooked. I see it online all the time too. People having no idea how to be parents. There was literally a video posted last week from a Gen Z parent that made my jaw drop. The parent looked extremely stressed. And the video is her talking about how she struggles raising her child because she wants to go to bed earlier than the child does. So my immediate thought was, dang, how early is this mom trying to sleep? But then I found out this woman goes to sleep at midnight, which means her baby is staying up later than that. 3 years old, staying up past midnight. That kid should be mid-REM sleep at that time. What are you even giving it to not be tired until past midnight? Are you putting Red Bull in its milk? And listen, I want to make something very clear. I'm not saying I would be a better parent. I think I'm the prime example for why my generation may not be ready to parent yet. Like, I babysat my nephew one time, and I was going into it pretty confidently. How hard can it be to take care of a child for one night? But then he needed his diaper changed. And that's when it occurred to me, I've never changed a diaper before. So I did the only thing I could think to do. I turned on my ChatGPT camera and I had it guide me step by step on how to change a diaper. I still don't think I did it right because little homie kept crying even after I changed it. But I did the best I could. But now let's address the elephant in the room. The main reason I would be a terrible parent right now is because I'd be a horrible influence on the kid. And the reason for that is I still want to do everything a kid wants to do. Like, if my kid asked me to stop at McDonald's on the way home, I would never say no. They literally just start to say the words, can we? And I'd already be turning into that Golden Arches parking lot. Not because I'm being a nice dad, it's because I want McDonald's. The kid would just be my excuse. My kid would think he's the luckiest person alive, getting McDonald's every day. In reality, it's just because his dad has a chicken nugget addiction. And the McDonald's thing is just the start of it, because everything I do as a parent would secretly be for me. Bedtime? There is no bedtime, because I'm up late too. You want to stay up till 2 a.m.? Me too. Let's turn on some Netflix. You don't like eating vegetables? Buddy, I don't eat them either. So how am I gonna sit there and lie to my kid's face about how good broccoli is? My kid would have the diet of a college freshman and the sleep schedule of a raccoon, and I'd be right there in it with him. Both of us, two dummies raising each other. I wouldn't be a dad. I'd be a slightly bigger roommate who happens to be old enough to drive in places. Now, I may have said some things that make you scared for the future in this video, but by far, what I'm about to tell you next should make you much more scared than anything I've said before. Because here's the situation. AI is getting good, like scary good, really fast. Every few months, it can do something new that it couldn't do before. And if you've seen any movie ever, you know how this goes. At some point, the robots get too smart, they decide they don't need us anymore, and they take over the world. And since AI is getting really good right now, I'd probably give us about 20 years before they fully try to take over the whole world. So when that day comes, when the machines rise up and humanity has to make its final stand, who's defending us? Who's on the front lines? These kids. They will be taking on the super intelligent robot army. Picture it. The fate of the human race is on the line, and our greatest soldier is a 16-year-old whose only experience in fighting is in GTA servers, and he's up against the Terminator. Our only hope is that the robots just feel bad for us. Hopefully they'll see how cooked we are without them taking over and just spare us. I know I won't be spared in the fight against robots, unfortunately. I mean, if you could see some of the things I've said to my ChatGPT robot, you would want me arrested for emotional abuse. And you would hope that there would at least be some super genius kids that come out of this younger generation. Usually, when kids are growing up and you ask what they want to be when they get older, they say things like astronaut, doctor, professional athlete. Now, they all say they want to be a YouTuber, which I don't understand. Who would ever want to be a YouTuber? Like, that's the most dumb career ever. Okay, no, obviously, I'm joking, guys. I see why people want to be YouTubers. It's one of the coolest jobs in the world. If you ever see a content creator complaining about how this career is so hard or how it's harder than a real job and people who aren't creators just don't understand it, don't believe them. I've never had a real job, so I couldn't tell you if it's harder than a normal one, but I can tell you that this job is pretty sick. But anyways, the reason I brought this up is because we need kids that want to be doctors, engineers, scientists, not YouTubers. I contribute nothing to society. I can tell you for a fact that us YouTubers would be useless if we had to fight the robots. So please, guys, at least some of y'all need to give us hope for the future. I don't think all hope is lost though, because I have a solution for us to fix the younger generation. It's not to take their phones away, because it's too late for that already. If you tried taking a child's phone, you'd probably leave with one less finger than you woke up with that day. But what the kids love is games on their phones and iPads. So my plan is to create an app that pays you to not use your phone. For every minute your phone is shut off, you make 1 cent. That may not sound like a lot of money to the average person, but for kids, that could add up. Now, who's gonna actually be the one paying people for not going on their phone? I don't know, but it definitely ain't gonna be me. So if any really rich people are watching this and they'd like to fund this project, DM me. Actually, let's be honest. If any rich person was to give me money, I'm keeping it for myself. I ain't making that app. So I guess this generation is just gonna be cooked.